Om Namah Shivaya. Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya. Guruji Sada Sahai. Saving my husband's life. Satsang of Jyotsana Shourie. I consider myself extremely fortunate and honored to have met Guruji around the year 2000. Since then, he has in every way blessed and kept my entire family under his guiding benevolence. My husband Deepak met Guruji when he had gone with his brother Arun on a day not appointed for the Sangat. Arun had a pressing problem as the daughters of one of his domestic staff had met with a serious accident in the village and doctors had recommended amputation. Guruji was at home and they were fortunate to have his darshan. By his grace, her foot was saved. While they were there, Guruji asked my husband to bring me to see him. I was at first disinclined, for though I am a religious minded person, I did not believe in mortal gods. Later, reflecting on how greatly he had helped my sister in law Anita with her debilitating Parkinson's disease, I felt it would be disrespectful of me not to go. The instant Guruji saw me, he said, Kailash Khanna di Kudi, Kailash Khanna's daughter, and I was shocked, for there was no way he could have known my late father's name. He gave me a photo of his and asked me to keep coming to the Sangat. I placed his photo on my puja table at night and was surprised to see the next morning that it had fallen. Also, the sindoor which I kept in a small round container had dropped onto the table in a near round heap, though the container was upright. No one could have entered the puja room at night, and I was confused. With hindsight, I now know that was Guruji's way of telling me that he had come to my home that night. How I got my knitting needles. I particularly remember an incident when Guruji saved us from a great deal of anguish. Our younger son Vinayak was to get married. On the morning of the Sangeet, families had arrived from different parts of the country and abroad. Suddenly, I heard my husband's fearful voice. He was asking me to come immediately as his ailing mother had collapsed. I ran first to Guruji's photograph and prayed to him to keep her safe. Then I entered my mother in law's room. Miraculously, she turned and sat up. Her recovery was so complete that she was able to participate in the wedding that she had been looking forward to. Another time that Guruji blessed our family, for which we are eternally grateful, was when he facilitated the birth of our twin grandsons. My eldest son Rajnath and his wife Moira had been married for 5 years. We were anxious to be grandparents, but they were taking their time. Since both worked in the US, where there is no family support, and had little spare time, I hoped they would not put off having a children altogether. One day, he asked Guruji when they would have children. He looked at their photos for a long time and told me to bring them for his blessings. Fortunately, this happened soon as they were coming for Vinayak's wedding. As part of the wedding ceremonies, we had a small havan at home. Moira told me she would not be able to participate as she was having her periods. After the wedding, they returned to the US and barely had a few days passed when, all excited, she rang up and told me to take out my knitting needles. I was going to be a grandmother. I was pleasantly shocked, as just 10 days earlier I had known it was not possible. I came to thank Guruji profusely, and he told me that he had blessed her with twins. After her ultrasound, Moira was able to confirm this news to me as well. Blessed my husband. My husband Deepak had an injury in his foot and it had come to the point of turning gangrenous. He had to be hospitalized. With treatment, it got better, and he came home with a dressing around his ankles. The next morning, he shed sheets and blankets. The bed sheets and blankets were covered with fresh blood. Yet the dressing was completely clean and dry. The doctors also examined to see if there could have been bleeding from elsewhere and was intrigued. No one could explain what had happened, but we knew it was Guruji who had eliminated whatever infected blood remained in my husband's foot. Guruji has even given my husband a new lease of life with a new heart. Two of Deepak's arteries had over 90% blockage. Guruji had foreseen this and asked me to come for darshan on a particular day. I happened to be preoccupied that evening and decided to go the next day instead. But before I could meet Guruji, Deepak was rushed to Escorts Hospital with severe pain and underwent emergency surgery. He had angioplasty and had three stents put inside his arteries. As my son, daughter-in-law, and I waited in the hospital lobby, we could smell Guruji's fragrance. As Deepak came out of surgery, he too smelled Guruji's fragrance. But though I was beside him, I did not perhaps I did not. Perhaps Guruji was reprimanding me for not coming to the Sangat on the appointed day. If I had, Deepak would have been saved from this trauma. I thanked Guruji and promised him I would never make this mistake again. These are just some of the instances where Guruji has touched our lives. Yet there have been innumerable ones. I prayed to him daily to guide and bless our family and to keep us from harm. I am completely indebted to him and am confident that he hears my prayers. I have on occasions asked him that he does so much for so many people. What does he expect in return? He smiles and says, their complete devotion. Beyant Shukrana Guru Maharaj.